Hey everyone,
Hi,
I'm Brad.
I'm Angie.
Welcome to the Dumb Crumb episode
I think it's 4.
4.
Yes.
Yes.
4. We've been doing this for almost a month now.
Yes, it's very exciting. We've been getting some pretty good feedback. We're up over like 110, 112
I think
likes.
we're somewhere maybe 120, and thanks to all of you guys.
Yes.
That is awesome. We were so excited when we broke 100. So next stop, 500.
Yep, and tonight we're going to talk about some theme restaurants, or just some restaurants that we, well, for the most part, I think I dislike part of them. She likes some of them. And just some of the things we don't like about them. So for some of the listeners out there, some of the watchers, you may not have some of these in your area, but you'll have some that are very close. The first one is kind of it's definitely a theme restaurant.
Well, before we start, do you want to just kind of talk a little bit, just maybe give the listeners and watchers kind of like a theme restaurant, which I describe that as it's less about the food and it's more about the gimmick that you get when you go in there. So we're going to walk through some restaurants that, even though you may not have the same one, you're going to have the same style. And Brad said most of these we'll probably agree on, and there's a couple actually that I absolutely disagree with his opinion on, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So.
And I guess the majority of these you're probably going for the kids, and definitely not because you're an adult. Not true for all of these, but the first one is one that I know my nieces and nephews adore, is the T-Rex Cafe, where, for those of you who are not familiar with it, you go in and you're surrounded by large animatronic dinosaurs while you eat. Very much the way, I guess, Fred Flintstone is and his family when they eat. It is, for me, the very first time I went, it was, gimmicky. The food is on par. It's slightly above Applebee's, but you're paying 2 or 3 times Applebee's prices.
Yeah, there's no 2 for $20 on the menu at T-Rex.
No. But you're definitely, to me, the first time taking, my nieces and nephews, it was, definitely fun. But, I've got to say, I just, don't like it because they do have about every, 5 minutes, they do have a massively loud meteor storm that comes overhead. So if you have little kids, very little kids, they're screaming and crying throughout the restaurant. Just like something you definitely want when you're eating is 2 and 3-year-olds screaming for their lives, begging you to help them and flee the restaurant. The table.
Stay home and watch Jurassic Park instead.
Yes, that's what's basically what it's. You're trying to eat in the middle of Jurassic Park. The table we were at was lucky enough to have some type of carnivorous dinosaur that, as you would eat occasionally, every 4th or 5th pass would suddenly swing over and just right over us as we were trying to eat. So it was definitely amazing when we walked in. After about 40 minutes into the meal, it was, I honestly was wishing one of the dinosaurs would come to life and just carry me into the jungle and devour me, because it was, it quickly, for an adult, anyone over the age of, honestly, I would think 15, it quickly grew old. And then the food quality, it was definitely not something that you're definitely paying for your child to enjoy it, is the way I would say it. It's not something you definitely, if you're a single guy out there watching this, definitely not a choice for a date.
No.
I would definitely not, if you're out there on eHarmony, this is not a first date or even like a 10th date idea.
Now, if you don't care about getting a second date, you might want to take
that is true. That is true. This would probably be a good place if you're looking to end a relationship. This would be a good place to do that.
I think I've only been there one time, and it's been several years ago. And what I remember about the food is it wasn't awful, but I agree with you, it was overpriced. And I think a lot of these theme restaurants, not all, but it seems like a lot of them, you don't get a lot for your money. The portion size is kind of skimpy. I would much rather go to a local bar and grill and, pay less and get more food, better quality. That's kind of my take on a lot of these restaurants anyway.
And it may be hard to tell. I don't know if it was the smaller portions or the fact that they seem to use, and I think this is something between all restaurants now, they seem to start using the largest plates humanly possible.
Yes.
Because it seems, I don't know if that's just something.
The illusion.
It is the illusion. They seem to be thinking that let's bring out, like a platter. The plates are now all platter size. If they bring you, maybe it's they think this is, people are getting more or something. It really just makes the portions look smaller, maybe.
Right.
The next restaurant that we have on the list, I think, is actually owned by the same company.
Yeah, I think when I moved to Kansas City, this had closed or was open briefly when I moved here. So I am not familiar with this. I kind of know the concept of it, but when I close my eyes and I picture it, I believe it is owned by the same company because they look very, very similar.
And this was one that my youngest brother and sister, which I'm actually 21 years older than, and I actually took them to this numerous times around their birthdays because they enjoyed going here. It was Rainforest Cafe. And it was another, basically you go into, and instead of dinosaurs, you were surrounded by jungle animals. And all the jungle noises, and instead of a meteor shower, you got a lot of thunder and lightning every few minutes. And it was very much, it was different. I did enjoy this a little bit more than T-Rex. After our probably third trip there, though, I did have to learn that there was one table you would specifically not ask for that was near a swamp area, and about every 5 minutes they had a specific table that was very poor placement that had a fog machine near it, that there was so much fog would come out that would be so thick and would pour across your table you could not see your food or plate sitting directly in front of you.
For a good several minutes.
Yes, as it would pour out. So it was very ill-placed. And your waiter would warn you about it. When we first sat down, he said, now there's going to be some fog coming out. And the first time he would tell me that, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then it would pour across, and you actually could not even see your table. And you was like, oh, okay.
You feel like you're in the movie The Fog.
Yes.
A John Carpenter classic from 1980.
Yes. And again, the food, pretty much the same as T-Rex, overpriced. But, you're, again, going there for the kids. And, of course, they have a gift shop that you cannot leave without going through the gift shop.
So as you were talking, I made a note here. And I think both Rainforest, and I know T-Rex for sure, they also have, the offshoot of Build-A-Bear. Like the Build-A-Dino, Build-A-Rainforest animal, whatever. Now, my house, we have a lot of Build-A-Bears. I have some myself, actually, that I've built. But yeah, definitely when you go in there, it's, you're not just paying for the dinner. You're paying for the dinosaur bones or the stuffed animal or something else. So you walk out of there, of a family of 4, you easily have spent probably $100 or over $100.
Yes, it's
an experience and not a great one.
No, it's like the the Disneyland of restaurants, and
that's
it's
a good
like
description.
Yes, and it's like why do you why do you need a souvenir of your dinner?
Right, the foggiest place on earth.
Yes.
That could be a tagline for the Rainforest Cafe.
Yes, your child just had they just ate a $24 hamburger, and they need a souvenir of that hamburger in the form of a stuffed snake
that they'll play with once and never play with again.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the next place isn't more sort of kids-oriented, but it is somewhat a kitschy restaurant, Outback Steakhouse.
Get it.
Which is, Australian-themed. I have never really been a fan. I have eaten a few times over the years, which Outback has always left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Outback I view as horribly overpriced horse meat, basically, for their steaks. I think for the price of their food, they are basically on the same level as Applebee's, which I think Applebee's is fine for what you get at Applebee's. I know for Outback, their most popular item is the blooming onion, which is tasty, but you're basically paying like $10.99, $12.99 for a deep fried breaded onion, for a large onion ring, basically, and for the price of what they charge for that, you could buy 200 pounds of onions at the grocery store. Yes.
How much is the blooming onion? Like $10?
It is. It's like $10, $12,
really?
And it comes out. And while it is tasty, it comes out, and as I've said, it's covered in so much grease, it looks like they have wrung the grease from a pimply teenager's face. It's Outback now, they see those commercials now where they're trying to give everyone great deals, but, I just don't think the cut of the meat that Outback has is that great. I don't think their food's that great. to me, it's like they want to be an expensive steakhouse, but again, I think their food is Applebee's quality. And again, I think Applebee's is fine, but Applebee's is well priced. Outback, I think, is a ripoff. And I know you completely disagree.
I like Outback Steakhouse. I mean, it's certainly not, my absolute favorite, but I actually like their Outback Special, which is, I don't know how many ounces, like maybe 6 or 8 ounces a steak. And if I ever just want a steak and don't want to spend an exorbitant price, that's probably where I'll go. I like their salad. I like the baked potato. I love the bloomin' onion. I like it. What more can I say? Now, what I do think is interesting is you talked about, Outback and Applebee's kind of having like this, trying to do these sort of deals. And I noticed a lot of restaurants like this now do the whole 2 for $20 thing. Like, you and Sarah go out to eat, and you pay $20. You each get your own appetizer. Or no, you each get your own entree, and then you share an appetizer. You notice a lot of places are doing that?
Yes.
And I think Outback does that as well as Applebee's.
I think they do that because they know they suck.
Well,
let me ask you this. Is it that you really like Outback Steakhouse, or you liked the movie Crocodile Dundee?
Well, I like the movies Crocodile Dundee.
Yes, and you reminisce about Crocodile Dundee, and you think, oh, I'll go to Outback Steakhouse.
Well, I just like the Outback Special. I think it's a good cut of meat. It's got the salad, it's got the potato that I like, it's got the bread, the bloomin' onion. I'm a fan. I like it. Although I can't tell you the last time I was there. However, I have noticed in our area in Kansas City that there's actually 2 Outbacks that are now closed. 2 in the metro area. So I don't know who they're owned by, at their own entity, but I have noticed that a couple of them have closed. So take that for what it's worth.
We will call that God's retribution.
I like it.
We will agree to disagree.
I like Outback. Yeah. I don't have an issue with Outback. And I gotta say also about Applebee's, like, I can't even tell you the last time I was at an Applebee's until I was there earlier this year in May. And I was it wasn't bad. It was better than what I remember. So I think they've gotten better on their quality of food.
I have been against Outback so long. I have not been there in a long time.
Applebee's, not Outback.
Oh, not Applebee's.
Yeah.
Outback.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it was okay. It wasn't like outstanding, great, but it certainly wasn't terrible. I think it's improved.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah. And if I want something quick, and I'll go there and I'll be all right. So I'm okay with Outback.
All right. The next place is kind of in our area. Most people outside of probably the local Missouri, Kansas City area will know this place. Some people outside may have heard about it on the Travel Channel.
Anthony Bourdain been there?
Yeah, Anthony Bourdain has been there. I believe he's been there. Most of your traveling chefs have been here. So some of our distant fans of the Dumb Crumble have heard this, but Lambert's Cafe. And Lambert's, I do say, they do have fantastic food. What kind of
food do they have? Remind me again, because it's been a long time.
It's kind of home-style cooking. Home-style cooking.
But it's not like family style, like you get a giant bowl of mashed potatoes.
No, they walk around and serve the stuff. Okay. And the thing I actually don't like about Lambert's is what they're known for is the throne roll.
I think it's built into their name. Lambert's.
Yes.
Home of the Throne Roll Cafe. Yes.
If I want food thrown at me,
you're not going to a Japanese steakhouse.
No,
we'll talk about
later. I don't want food thrown at me because I don't want to. I'm not a great catcher. I don't want food thrown at me.
Now, are the rolls soft? Because I really
they are somewhat. Okay. Yeah, it's not like they're throwing a big, heavy, hard, crusty bread. They're not hurling. You're not going to lose an eye. Right. I just don't like the bread thrown at you, and their food.
Hold on. Now I gotta stop. Now, do they make eye contact? Like, if you see the waiter down there, or whoever is the purveyor of bread, do you make eye contact with them, and is that when they throw it at you?
Yes,
or they just randomly throw it at you?
They're not, randomly whipping, the bread out there, and you're just
I take a bite of my mashed potatoes.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about suddenly one's going to come whipping in like a meteorite or anything.
So just keep your head down the whole time.
Yes. You have to ask for one. They're going to throw the roll at you and stuff.
Yeah.
And the food is good, but their food it's a heavy food.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's.
It kind of reminds me of Cracker Barrel.
It is it is Cracker Barrel or a heavy Corner Cafe, which is another local restaurant that I like here. And that's the only thing I would say bad about it. I just don't like the food being thrown, which actually we'll go ahead and lead into our next into Japanese steakhouses. And a Japanese steakhouse, which some people like, it's like dinner and a show. They cook it there on the grill for you. Mm-hmm. I like Japanese food. I don't. it's great, I guess, that they cook it there, but I don't like that they, flick the stuff and they're flicking the bowls. I've yet to ever be at a Japanese steakhouse where someone's sitting at the table where the chef, and I don't know if maybe every time I've been, we've gotten like the one guy who's suddenly like they're interning at the table cooking, but where a bowl, they always try to do, maybe they're always looking to get fancy and impress the table, but where they flip out and they're like doing 3 bowls and 4 bowls and they're moving them around, and then suddenly they're like, and maybe they're in their mind, they're like, I'm breaking the record for flipping bowls, and they pull in like a 7th and 8th bowl and they lose one, and they dump a bowl of rice on someone at the table.
I have never experienced that.
Either that,
like on the plate in front of them?
Actually, on the plate in front of them where someone gets rice on them, or someone misses, because they always flip the shrimp on someone. And I've never been hit by the shrimp myself, but I've seen someone miss it. So I don't like that about Japanese steakhouses. So anytime I've ever had to go to a Japanese steakhouse, they do, I think Benihana's is probably the most popular one.
Yes.
So I don't like having to go to a place where I have to think, because generally at a Japanese steakhouse, you've got to dress up a little. But I've always have to think in my mind...
Take off your shoes.
Yes. So I always have to think in my mind, okay, I've got to dress up a little, but I've got to wear something that I don't mind getting a hot piece of greasy food thrown on top of and stained where it may not come out. So that's always, and I stress out, my wife would tell you, I stress out about things like getting stains on my food, because if it doesn't come out, I can see the stain, I throw it away.
Right.
There is no me keeping something, you'll wear that outside.
Horrible memory of that rogue shrimp.
So, yes, for me it is. So I'm sitting there like, okay, well, I've got to dress up a little, but it's got to be something I don't mind possibly having to throw away immediately when I get home. If it gets stained.
So, let me just tell you, I was just at a Japanese steakhouse on Monday. It was my daughter's birthday. And so we let her pick wherever she wanted to go, and she chose Japanese steakhouse. And so, I'm kind of like Brad. I like the food. And when you said Japanese food, I'm like, is that really Japanese food? I don't know if it really, I don't know.
I question that too. I don't think the Japanese eat a lot of steak.
I don't either.
If it was like just fish, if you went in there and they like tossed you a raw fish, I'd be like, well, that's...
Because they have sushi. Like, all of them have like a sushi bar.
Yes.
I am not a big fan of it. I'm like Brad. I like the food. I like the rice and all the sauces they give you, and the soup and the salad and all that. But that's where my daughter wanted to go, so I didn't talk her out of it. Like, I'll pay you $20 if we don't have to go there. So we went there, and it was actually a really pleasant experience. So it was Monday, so of course it wasn't packed. But what was nice about it is what do you call the guy at your table? The chef? What do they call him? Yeah. So he was very funny, and I actually, my kids were there, so they found it to be very entertaining, of course. But what was really great is he actually asked before he started chopping up the shrimp and throwing them at our table. He would actually ask, and I told him I was still eating actually because I eat slowly, and I said no. I said I'm gonna defer those shrimp on down the table. So he was really great. He actually asked, and he didn't put pressure on you, but a lot of times they do. They just start firing off the shrimp or the scallops or whatever it is. And you know what I think? When I was watching it at my table, because other people at my table were doing it, what I thought was, that's a wasted good shrimp if it falls on the floor. Huh? I wanted to intercept some of those shrimp that were like landing on the floor, like, because I'm like, that's a wasted good shrimp or steak or scallop or what? Yeah, right. So I don't know. I mean, I don't. It would not be my first choice to go to a place if someone said, "Hey, let's go out to dinner to a nice place." I'd probably pick the steak route or, maybe something else, nice seafood place. But it is what it is. You definitely are going there for the show. I think the big difference between something like this and like Applebee's or Outback is the food is just far more superior. Yes. I mean, the steak is fresh, the scallops, all of that. But, yeah, don't throw stuff at my food.
Another place I'm going to surprise you with, because I don't have it on the list, it just came to my mind, is, and these are the only places that I know of, and they are a chain, is the Melting Pot.
Okay, so I have never been there.
Okay.
I'm excited about this.
Okay, now the Melting Pot.
We have one here in Kansas City,
yes,
right?
Yes, we have one here in Kansas City. They are a chain. They're not a massive chain, but they are throughout the United States. It's a place that you go into, and they are a fondue restaurant. I like fondue.
Who doesn't, right?
Yes,
it's delicious.
Yes,
it's
fondue. Oh. But I do think they are outrageously expensive for little bits of food that you cook yourself.
Now, explain to me how the menu's set up. Because I've had friends that have went there for special occasions, like anniversaries and stuff. Explain to me how you order and how the menu's set up.
Well, it's set up, and you can get like just like vegetarian or meat or mix, and then they have like desserts and stuff
with chocolate or white chocolate or whatever. Caramel, right?
And it's not a lot of food, but they bring it out, and you basically have to cook it or grill it yourself. And it's right there.
Hibachi grill at the table.
It's like a little thing, a little heat and everything, or they'll bring the chocolate out and stuff, and it's
Hershey bar they give you.
Well, yeah, but it's like. But it's like to me, it's like, they bring out, you can get like, chicken, pork, fish, meat, whatever.
But it comes out raw, the meat?
Yes.
Is it chopped up though? Like diced up?
Yeah, you get the thing, you take it, you like stick it over the heat and stuff.
Okay.
But to me, it's very, it's one of those where you're paying, fondue was I remember when I was a kid, in the 70s.
Yes.
Fondue came alive in the late 60s and 70s. Everyone had to have a fondue.
Retro.
It's very
avocado green pot.
And that's what I think everyone, for the melting pot is you're paying for the kind of the retro, and
it's anything but that.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You're paying you're basically paying to cook your own meal. That'd be like going to McDonald's and ordering a Big Mac and them saying, no problem, here's, this way to the griddle,
If you want a good fondue experience, just go to your grandma's attic, and she probably has that avocado.
Yes, exactly.
Still in the box.
Exactly, but it is delicious, and the sauces and the dessert fondue that they have there is fantastic. But two people go there, and it's $80, and when you're done, I'm generally like, okay.
You need that Big Mac, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, now I want to go across to this Irish pub, O'Doul's, and I need to have a shepherd's pie now. And it takes a long time to,
Yeah.
But it is it's worth the experience, but you're definitely paying for just to be able to say, hey, I've
It's a special
fondue.
experience for
It is. It's worth doing once, but not many times.
Yeah.
The next item we have on here is Dave & Buster's, which is a chain.
Based out of Chicago, I think.
Yes, they are based out of Chicago. Yeah. The food actually like at Dave & Buster's. It's a notch above T-Rex and Rainforest. Mm-hmm. They are a little pricey. Everyone goes to Dave & Buster's, I think, for the games.
Well, I think, when you say the food's a little pricey, and the reason why some of the food is pricier, so you might go there and order, say, like a Reuben sandwich and fries, and it might be $20, and you would think, hold on, that's outrageous. But what they usually do is they will tack on like a $10, like a game card on top of that. So you basically pay for the meal, and then you pay for the card to play the games.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And they will definitely want to upsell you on the games, because a lot of people go there and spend a lot of time on the games. And the thing I have about Dave & Buster's is the games, there's like zero skill to the games, and they just want you to feed more money into the games. The games, me and some friends, my wife, and some other couples went there. And I've had people, tell us, you got to go to Dave & Buster's. You got to go to Dave & Buster's. We went, and the food was good. I think I may have had a Reuben. It was odd you mentioned that. I think I may have had a Reuben.
That is my all-time favorite sandwich, which that'll be an upcoming show, maybe just about Reubens.
It'll just be 45 minutes of y'all watching us eat Reubens.
Yeah.
But the games themselves really just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth about Dave & Buster's, because different themes. There was I think a haunted house game. There was
which is my absolute favorite.
But you sit in, me and my wife, we went from game to game, and I realized they're all basically the same game. You're either like on the pirate game, you're shooting a cannon, or on the haunted house game, you're shooting, like a Ghostbuster type gun. But there's no skill. You don't really see stuff die. Stuff pops up, and you have to shoot each thing, say maybe 50 times. And once you shoot it, it kind of like disappears. But as long as you feed money into the game, you keep going. And you just suddenly, it's like, your game's about to end, feed more money into it. It's not like the old school games where you had to have like some skill, like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or something. It's, it's kind of games almost like they probably did design them for like a 10-year-old or something. Although I take that back, a 10-year-old could crush us at the games they play now on, Xbox and stuff. But that's the one down thing. I was expecting something with a little more skill, I guess, involved in the games, and it was really just kind of super graphics on the games, but it's basically just like shoot at this and keep pouring money into it, or running your game card through it, and you could keep going and going, and realistically, as long as you put more money into it, you could go to the end.
Yeah, and how their card systems are based is, you don't put coins in, you put in like the card and they load them with credits. And there's 2 different levels. So I wrote down some notes here. So if you're just like a regular customer, like your credit might be 2.9 for a game. And if you load, say, I don't know, $100 on there, every time you play, it's going to swipe 2.9 credits. And then if you are, I think it's like a platinum or like a gold member, whatever the next level, the credits are a little bit cheaper. So you might be paying 2.1. I like the variety of games. There's a whole section there that I don't really ever venture to because I'm not really into the shooting type of games. I tend to stick with the haunted house one, which is my absolute favorite. I get mad when people are on that. I will stalk them. I'll just stand there and wait. But yeah, they also have like a Deal or No Deal. I know they have one of those games, which, is kind of simulated like the TV show. They have Skee Ball, which is a favorite of mine. They have the basketball shooting ones. And then, of course, they have this massive, well, it's not really big, but they have a lot of merchandise, a store at the back of the back end of Dave & Buster's that you can take your card in at the end of the night, or they're rolling, so you can just build them up, and they don't expire. And you can go back in and you can buy something. And this is the part that usually kills me is, a roll of Mentos Mints might be 1,000 credits, and you go into Walmart, it's what, 50 cents?
Yes.
75 cents. So I gotta watch some of that stuff.
Something they did have, which I thought was kind of funny, watching some kids play it, was, and to win tickets, which they did have a lot there, because kids would definitely enjoy the ticket games, was a big wheel that a light was going around, and on 4 corners, if you stopped the light at one of these particular corners, you would win like 500 or 600 tickets. If you stopped at any of the other, 500 lights, you would win 5 tickets. Yes. So it was basically like a roulette wheel for children. So it's like, this is what a great way to start them early.
It's exactly what it is, too.
Start at Dave & Buster's here at the light wheel, and then you just go right across to Hollywood Casino across the street. I thought that was like a perfect way to start an early gambling addiction with the Dave & Buster's. Really but the food was good, and as far as like children would enjoy the games. It was kind of built up to me the way it was described to be, fantastic to go there as an adult. For me, it would be more of go for the food. They had a fantastic bar. Their drinks are really good.
Their drinks are awesome.
The drinks are really good. And if you're wondering, we're actually drinking lemonade and sweet tea vodka tonight.
We're having a drink. It's been a long week.
The official drink of the Dumb Crumb. Sweet tea vodka and lemonade, which is very retro. It's a John Daly's.
We just need fondue. We need some fondue right now.
We need
somebody has an avocado pot. Yeah, I want to get rid of it. Let us know.
Next restaurant on the list is Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Which is definitely, you go there for children. And the games are definitely for children. They're not in no way for an adult.
Well, there's a big skee ball there. I know a lot of adults that like skee ball.
But none of the prizes are for an adult. Sure. I will say, before I go, the one thing about Chuck E. Cheese is because adults do end up eating there is their pizza is so horrible that, I, again, took the twins there when they were to eat, just, hey, an older brother taking the twins there.
Which one did you go to?
Actually, it was the one near here. Just
135th.
Yes, years ago. They need a serious. In fact, Chuck E. Cheese pizza is so bad, they actually, make Domino's look good.
I've never had Domino's pizza. Can you believe that?
Really?
I've never had Domino's.
Well, that may have to be an episode.
Another episode.
We bring in a Domino's pizza and have you try it, and then you'll probably wish we were at Chuck E. Cheese. But Chuck E. Cheese pizza, for what they charge to have a party and stuff there, or honestly, what they charge for their pizzas, they need serious. They need dough. Their pizza is bad. Their pizza is just so bad that they are below Totino's frozen pizza.
I think Totino's is way better. Is that in the orange box?
Yes, and they're like 90 cents a pizza.
Exactly.
And, they got Totino's pizza got me through college and Saturday nights in high school and stuff with friends. And Chuck E. Cheese, their food quality is so bad that there's a reason a rat brings it out to you, and it's bad, and and I know there may be people saying, "Well, you go there for the children," but
which I'm gonna say that
I love children more than Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Well, let me just say that I was just telling Brad before we started recording. That was one that came up to me, and if it's like a winter day and it's bitter cold, and maybe we've exhausted our time at the mall, walking around, running around, whatever. And I have coupons. A lot of times I will go in there for a couple of hours with my kids. And we don't eat there, though. See, that's the thing. Well. We don't eat. We go in there and we just play the games. And I've certainly eaten there.
You just go for the ambience.
We go for the ambience, yes, and to win at Skee Ball. And actually, there is a Chuck E. Cheese here in town. It's actually north of the river that actually has that Haunted Mansion game that I love so much at Dave & Buster's. And what's great about that is it's a ticket game, and it only costs the 1 token. So that's the great thing about Chuck E. Cheese, and this is not a plug for me saying how much I love Chuck E. Cheese, but I like that it's cheaper than Dave & Buster's, even though on Wednesday nights Dave & Buster's has half-price games, which is a good deal. But yeah, a few times out of the year, I'll take my kids there, when the weather's bad, or it's cold, it's snowy, whatever, rainy, go there for a couple of hours, spend, maybe $30 on some games. They get a couple of cheap prizes like the rings and the tattoos and stuff. We killed a couple of hours, but we usually eat before or after we go in there. We usually don't eat there. Yeah, just because the food is not great.
When I was a kid, my choice, and I don't know if you remember this.
Showbiz Pizza Palace.
Showbiz Pizza.
I am familiar. What happened to those? What happened to Showbiz?
I don't know.
Were they owned by Chuck E. Cheese?
I think bankruptcy happened. Or maybe they were bought by Chuck E. Cheese.
Because they had an rodent too, right?
Well, they had they had it's horrible that I remember this, but because I had a birthday there when I was little, but they had the Rockafire Explosion Band, a gorilla that played the drums.
Okay.
And they had actual real video games that you would find in an arcade. Pac-Man, Centipede, all that, and then they had the Skee Ball. They had the Rockafire Explosion Band, and then you can go into another room where they had a hound dog done up like Elvis.
Oh, and
then they had like real pizza.
Okay.
And not this whatever that Chuck E. Cheese.
And by real pizza, was it?
It was like Godfather's type pizza, which is my favorite pizza to buy.
I do like Godfather's.
Yes.
So was there one in Kansas City, the Showbiz Pizza Palace?
I don't know. It was in lived in Tennessee when.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I don't think I've ever been to one, but I am familiar with them.
Yes, and that was, I just remember as a kid, that's where, my family always preferred to go because it was much better, and then Chuck E. Cheese came out, and we went into one of those one time, we were like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Right.
This won't be around forever, and then suddenly they're still here, and Showbiz is gone.
Yeah. I gotta look up the hound dog. I actually have a Basset Hound. I love Basset Hounds, they're my favorite breed, so now I'm curious about this Showbiz Hound. So I got to look him up.
I remember you could go in, it was a separate room, you could put a quarter in, and he would play an entire Elvis song, and, had the entire animatronic.
Real? Like dressed up as?
It wasn't a real dog.
Well, no, not a real hound. That's impressive.
It was
they don't do a whole lot.
A large animatronic dog.
Okay. I thought it was a person like in a hound.
No, it was an animatronic dog, and then the band was animatronic, and they would play and stuff. And
Okay, that's funny. YouTube. I'm gonna YouTube that later and probably post it.
It was, it was quite something.
They need to bring that back.
Well, we used to go there quite often because, me and my dad would go to back when arcades were a huge thing. Mm-hmm. And malls and stuff like Aladdin's Castle and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, then the Showbiz near us had a huge arcade inside, so we would go there and stuff. And, of course, I would go over and listen to the hound dog play some Elvis.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So speaking of arcades, I think that's a good segue into something we're seeing more of in Kansas City.
Yes, another restaurant, I guess we'd say restaurant-type bar that, one that we actually like, that we're not going to, that we both agree on, that, one of us is not going to run down, even though I think I've been doing most of the running down on these tonight. A restaurant that we like, it is not a chain, hopefully they'll get big and they become a chain, is one called Tapcade. Mm-hmm. A bar and grill here in town that we actually really do like, food-wise, reasonably priced.
Talk about the type of food they have, because it's not your typical Dave & Buster's sort of food. The menu's pretty limited.
The menu's very limited. They serve a lot of burritos.
Yeah.
Large burritos. I don't even know if I call them Chipotle. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I guess they're fresh, but I wouldn't call them, they're definitely not Chipotle style, but they're more of like, the kind you'd find, in your typical Mexican restaurant. They're large, flour tortilla, they're covered in cheese. Mm-hmm. And then they have like, they have some salads and stuff, their cheese curds, but anytime I got
fried cheese curds,
but every time I've ever got them, they're so hot and fresh, they kind of melt together into one large curd. Mm-hmm. Chips, salsa. But, the menu probably has, 20 items?
Yeah, it's pretty small. What they do have a lot of that I love, and I know you're not a fan of this, is that they have a giant selection of craft beer.
Yes.
Yes, that is a huge selling point for me.
Yes.
And I actually went to Tapcade and watched the Mad Men finale there.
Really?
It was very cool. So at the Tapcade that we have here in Kansas City, they actually have what they call, I think it's called Screenland, and they have a movie theater in there, and it's very small. It's definitely small. I mean, they will play. I think one of the movies they played at one point earlier this year was Devil's Rejects, which I know is a favorite of ours. It's a Rob Zombie film. But they play a lot of kind of smaller films, kind of those films that people might have tend to forget about. But they actually had the Mad Men screening there, and I actually watched that, had a couple of drinks, and it was really a cool experience. Yes. Very cool to experience that, and with everyone. The thing with Tapcade is, they actually have a lot of the old school arcade games, that we grew up with. Donkey Kong, Burger Time, which is a fun one. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Burger Time.
Yep.
Yeah. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, all of that. And I think the price is, if you want to pay those games, you pay, I think, a $5 wristband. Is that what it is? And then you play all night? Is that the deal?
Yeah, they looked at kind of like, people going off to Dave & Buster's and, shelling out, $50 to play for, maybe 30 minutes. And you can go in there and pay $5 and get a wristband and, stay there 24 hours. Yeah. Well, if they were open 24 hours, but...
Yeah, and they'll have really cool promotions too, because we actually, a group of us went and did a Game of Thrones trivia.
Yes.
And I don't watch that show. I don't know anything about it, but we still managed with our other team. We won. Yeah. So some of the questions were about beer. That's where I contributed, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So, but yeah, it's a cool place. And there's also another one in Kansas City called Up Down. Similar type of concept. It's where the Hamburger Mary's used to be. Have you been there?
No.
Yeah, I haven't been there either, but I think it's the same type of concept. So one of these days I might have to venture over there. But I actually like them. And having kids, I mean, it's kind of cool to take them in there to kind of see their reaction, because the games are not housed on this device. They're actually these giant structures. And we tell them, it's like, this is how we used to play games, except we played them on an Atari growing up, but the same type of games, So it's kind of a cool thing to get to watch them and, to kind of see folks like our age go back in and kind of relive some of their, childhood a little bit.
Good to see that. And, it's interesting, to see them play that and to see kind of some of today's video games, kind of circling back to that, because I know my nephew and a lot of the kids are into Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically the same graphics.
Yep. It is, which is funny, and it's so popular. It's like, how does that happen?
Yes, exactly. How does that happen? That it's so popular now, and it's basically, it looks like they're playing Atari. Mm-hmm. So, well, that is everything that we have for tonight. Yeah. Join us next week. Who knows what we will talk about? We got some ideas. We got a few ideas tonight. I think we should do the Reuben route. Just buy some Reubens or Domino pizza. We may do the Reuben route. Yeah. Or have you eat a Domino's. Or maybe we'll do a different show, but just have Domino's. Oh, there you go. So I have never had Domino's pizza, so you're saying it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. As a matter of fact, I found it surprising that they sell sandwiches, because I don't think they've mastered the pizza yet. And they sell pasta too, don't they? I think it's horrible pasta, but yes, they do. Yeah. I don't think they should be allowed to sell pizza, anything other than pizza, until they master the pizza. Who was that presidential candidate a few years ago? He didn't own Domino's, or who was that? Cain. What's his name? His name was Cain. Herman Cain. Herman Cain, that's it. Yes. He ran back in 2008, 2012. Until all those women came pouring out of the woodwork that he'd had affairs with. Oh, that's right. That's right. I was thinking it was Domino's. Then he decided he needed to rethink things. Right. Rethink that campaign. Step back to be with my family. Right. Yes. Right. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Yes, thank you very much. I'm hungry. I need to go get some food, and I will not be going to Chuck E. Cheese for some of their pizza. No. So. Well, everyone have a good night. Yep. Take care. Bye.